I want to talk about on the field. Let's talk about the fun stuff.
Yes.
Who do you think you've kind of touched on it as we've talked, but just to hone in more on that, who do you think are the top couple of teams in your mind that have a best shot at winning the Big 12 championship next year?
I can never doubt Mike Gundy ever. Just because if you think about besides his first year as a head coach, every single year he's won 7 games or more. Mm-hmm. And that's incredible. Like every single year besides his first year as a head coach, he has gone to a bowl game.
Yep.
And he has done so much with so little. That is not a school that necessarily recruits well. And we all thought that school was dead last offseason. Oh, Spencer Sanders left. Oh, so many of these other transfers are in the portal. Like so many people were transferring out. And we all were like, this is the end of Oklahoma State. And Mike Gundy said, all right, we'll watch. And I understand they got kind of pummeled in that Big 12 title game. That's a program you can never count out. And one where when a league that you're trying to find a consistent winner, that's the one. And then right. Utah comes into the league as like they're ready. Like BYU and Houston and UCF and Cincinnati, they came in and they realized what it was like to be in a Power 5 conference. Mm-hmm. Utah can walk in and be the number one program on the football field just because of what Kyle Whittingham has built. And they've ran the table in the Pac-12. Yep. They've won, 2 straight Pac-12 titles besides this year. And then I hope that they get back to where they are. But TCU is a program to me that, like, we just saw them. They went to the national championship game, and you're in a great recruiting footprint. And that's a school with money, a private school with a lot of wealthy donors. And you have a good coach in Sonny Dykes who, really got the best out of his players that 1 year. But they really took a step back, and I hope that they can get to where they are. And to the rest, I don't know who necessarily is going to be climbing up to that spot. You have Kansas State. I think West Virginia had such a good year this year, momentum. I think they can build to that. Iowa State, that's a school that I'm lower on just because I'm not the biggest Matt Campbell fan, but that's a school that you can't count out every single year. And Baylor is a school to me, I think is the sleeping giant in the Big 12, and they've proved they can have it in the highest level, but they're always on this roller coaster of we're really good, we're really bad, we're really good, right. We're really bad. And if they can just find consistency, that's a school I think that can really compete for the Big 12. But who do you have in mind? Do you think that I'm leaving out?
Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com or come in today to the home of friends and family pricing, only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you. Well, Arizona, I think, also might have a shot to come in and compete, especially with Noah Fafita.
Definitely.
Quarterback that kind of had just burst onto the scenes this year as a freshman and took everybody by storm. And they have their best wide receiver coming back too, if I'm not mistaken. So I think his last name is McMillan, but I think he's coming back. Utah, obviously, because of Whittingham. And then, and Kansas State. Kansas State year in, year out is winning 8-9 games since Kleiman's been there. You cannot count them out. And Gundy, obviously. Every time I think Mike Gundy might be losing it, he wins again. And it just, I have so much. Listen, he says and some things that make me want to scratch my head. Yes. And he's extremely quirky and can be a jerk to the media at times. But man, as a football coach, it's hard to argue what he's been able to do. I know a lot of Oklahoma fans, but it's Oklahoma fans, and I know it's a rivalry. But a lot of Oklahoma fans they call him mediocre Mike or whatever. But you got to look at Oklahoma State is not a blue blood program like Oklahoma. So to me, when you have a team that's at that level and they can win that many games year in, year out, I don't see how that's a bad coach. Because I think if you put Mike Gundy at an Oklahoma or at a blue blood program, he may have won a national championship by now, and I know there's people out there that argue he's never really won a big game or whatever. Maybe that's a fair argument, but man, I'm telling you, as a West Virginia fan, I'd love to have that what Oklahoma State's got right now.
No, definitely, and I think
consistency.
Yeah, he's done the best at adapting. I think I didn't think he was willing to adapt to the transfer portal, and then he has been. And if you look at who he's hired as coordinators. He's had Dana Holgerson, he's had Mike Yursich, he's had so many innovative minds because I think he's willing to understand, all right, I don't know this. I want to get someone else in my area, and like we can get better. And I think he's just done such an amazing job. And like that's why I have so much pride in this conference, because I think this conference is the conference of innovation. We think about the air raid, and we think about, the 3-3-5 defenses that John Haycock has done. Like, this has really been the league to like solve the issues. And then the SEC and the Big Ten are like, oh, that's smart. We're going to copy that and do it even better because they have the talent. Right. But this is really such a great league for that. And I think Mike Gundy has been a major reason for a lot of that innovation. Yeah,
great point. That's a great point. League of innovation. That's a phrase I hadn't heard, but it makes sense. I mean, you look at the coaches we've had in this league, man. Bill Snyder, Bob Stoops, Dana Holgerson. You could throw him in there at least on the offensive side. You could argue his head coaching ability, but offensively, you can't argue with his success.
And you got Mike Leach as well, Texas Tech. Like, that was huge.
Yeah. I mean, go down the list. John Heacock on the defensive side. Andy Kotelnicki at Kansas on offense. I mean, look what he did, man. Oh, my gosh.
He's a genius. Like, I love that man. We've talked to him a lot. He's just like a really good dude. I'm really sad he left the conference.
Yeah. So, I mean, you just keep going down the list, man. There's been so many guys that have come through this league. Well, they weren't in the Big 12 at the time, but, I mean, West Virginia had Rich Rodriguez. He started running the spread offense before it was cool to do, and like I said, they weren't in the Big 12 yet, but I still think, I'll still count it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of cool. Sonny Dykes is off the air raid tree. I think if you took what Neil Brown did this year, Neil Brown is an air raid guy, but he's become a run first coach, right? He wants to run the football. He saw the importance of running the football, and you look at the ways he called plays this year. To me, I think it was innovative. And he took what he had, he knew his strengths, and he played to those strengths. And so yeah, I mean, I think you could even throw him in there to a degree.
Oh, definitely. And if you have a guy like CJ Donaldson, you got to feed him the rock. I mean, like, absolutely. That guy's a beast.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all right. Who was your dark horse team to win the Big 12? I'll go, and then that'll be the last question
for next year.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Is there one really?
Can I'm just going to go off the walls, and I don't know if it's going to stick. And if it happens, I'm going to go back to this video, clip it, and post it on Twitter. And if not, we'll forget this forever. But I mean, Colorado has Shedeur Sanders. Like I hope he comes back. But if Colorado, I mean, like, obviously we've known that's been a roller coaster and they've only had one win. But if I were to pick a dark horse, I'm going to pick a team with a really good quarterback in a league that I don't know what the quarterback play is going to be like next year. And I think he is such a stud. And if he comes back, like, his name has to be in the conversation for Heisman, most likely just because of the buzz he garners, but also he is so talented. And if you have Travis Hunter there, like, that's a team that I don't know if it's going to result in wins in year one in the Big 12, but I trust that they have, some of the talent that the rest of the Big 12 does not have when it comes to the 5 stars, or just like really good talent. So if I were to have a dark horse, like, watch out for Deion, which is, I can't wait to watch that in year 1 too. I can't believe he's going to be in this conference.
I wish they were coming to Morgantown. That would be fun. West Virginia doesn't even play them. I think West Virginia plays them in 27 or 26. I think it's 26, maybe. I can't remember, because we don't play the new teams. We play like one a year or something. It's the way the schedule's, with 16 teams, it's hard to.
Yeah, I'm going to be confused about the schedule every year. I'm going to have no idea.
The only new team we play, West Virginia plays this year is Arizona. They fly to Arizona. Then everybody else is, existing members. But yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I was disappointed. My fear is that we won't even get to play Colorado. I'm afraid he'll leave the league before we even get to play him.
Yeah, I'm afraid about that too. I have a deep hot take that if Alabama and Nick Saban retires and Deion proves himself, he's going to go there just because he's a recruiting monster. But I don't know if that'll happen. But yeah. I do see one day Deion, moving on from Colorado if he does have a taste of success.
I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves when his sons leave as well. That's something I've kind of thought, because I heard him in an interview say he's coached his sons since they were in like Pop Warner all the way up through college.
Yeah. And that might be next year. Like, next year, maybe
is his goal to just follow them through their career and then call it a day? What's his long-term plan?
Yeah, because money's not a motivation for him at all.
Absolutely not.
He has all of that. I mean, what more satisfaction does? No, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that.
I'm sure he's earning more from the Aflac commercials than he is from coaching football.
Definitely.
But anyway, I guess if I had to, I'll pick a dark horse too, which is hard to do because there's so much parity in the league. I think my dark horse, I got to go Texas Tech, man, because I thought they were going to be there this year. They weren't. Joey McGuire is such a likable dude. They finally landed their first 5-star player. There's so much momentum there. They're recruiting so well. At some point, they're going to turn. And I think 2024 could be the year. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not real confident in this pick, but I think Texas Tech has a really good chance to be that dark horse because now that they underperformed last year, so now everybody's going to be afraid to pick them again. And I got snake bitten by Texas Tech, but I think maybe this is the year they do finally turn the corner and compete for the Big 12 championship.
No, that's a great take because, I mean, Joey McGuire, he gave me the firmest handshake I've ever had in my life at Big 12 Media Day. Damn near broke my hand. I was like, my God, dude, he has the juice. And if you look at like who's been doing the best recruiting wise in this conference, like since he took over, it's been him. And you know, the biggest issue for them has been quarterback play. Just because they've had Tyler Shuck get hurt so much and they had Donovan Smith get hurt and then transfer. And then you got Baron Morton. He was hurt a bit. And then they had to play a true freshman this year. Like they just need a quarterback to be healthy. Yeah. And I trust for him because when we had him on for his first signing day, we like asked him, what is your biggest goal in recruitment? And he was like, we need big human beings. We need huge offensive linemen and huge defensive linemen. The fact that he knew like we have to get better at that level because that's honestly like it's cliche, but that's where games are won and lost. Yep. And like that's where he got it. Yeah. And like he has this great recruiting. And I think that's why Baylor did so well with Matt Rule because he was there and he like basically had this formula of like we want a certain body type. If you fit this length and this height at this weight at that position, we're going to recruit you. And even if you're not as talented, we're going to develop you because, you know, that's what we're going to do. Yeah. So he had the sight to be like, let's get body types and then form them into what we want to be. Joe McGuire is a great coach. And I think that's a great pick for a dark horse.
Yeah.